Although 10 years old, Fallout 4 is still a popular choice when it comes to open world gaming, and as we eagerly await the arrival of highly anticipated titles such as GTA 6, many gamers are returning to this classic simply to fill that void, and in today's video I've compiled a list of 10 secrets you may have missed in the primary settlements known as Sanctuary Hills. So after the opening, designing our character, running for our lives, becoming cryogenically frozen, then finally returning to the surface to experience a completely different world, it's time to head in. Welcome to the video. You're listening to Phil of Philby Gaming. If you enjoy the following, you all know what to do, and if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, after watching, please consider doing so. Without further delay, let's begin. 10 secrets of Sanctuary Hills players may have missed. Starting off with our first, it seems that not all civilians placed a great deal of trust in Vault-Tec, and instead of trying to gain access to one of their underground vaults, decided upon building their own. Just 2 doors down from the sole survivor's home, heading around the rear of the property to the garden area, the player can uncover a hidden Fallout shelter. Heading inside, the player will find an assortment of scrap items, as well as replenishments too. Also, there's a couple of gold bars scattered around, valued at a high price, as well as a wooden crate and a safe containing further items. Fallout 4 is more than just about finding scrap to rebuild settlements, albeit a very fun part of the title. More often than not, the player will need to protect themselves from the dangers of the world that surrounds them. Of course, you can purchase or upgrade weapons and armour, but when first beginning, normally one would neither have the funds or the level perks to achieve this. Sanctuary Hills has got you covered. Scattered in and around the settlement and Misty Lake, the waters that surround the small island, are several spots where you can find weapons and armour, more powerful than the 10mm pistol and bare vault suit one normally has. Searching at the location shown, firstly by walking this fallen tree trunk at the home of the aforementioned bomb shelter, where you'll find an ammunition bag. Secondly, south of the vault, where you'll find an army helmet amongst health replenishment items. Thirdly, on the northern shores of Misty Lake, where you'll find a suitcase as well as scattered armour, and lastly, west of the waters, where you'll find a structure with even more helpful items, all adding to that much needed protection early in the title. In several of the houses scattered around Sanctuary Hills, the player will notice lock safes and suitcases. With this being very early in the game, you might not have as many bobby pins required to unlock these items. Although applicable at any settlement, I'll show you a handy trick that some may have missed. When entering the workshop mode, allowing you to fully customize your settlement, using the required button prompt to scrap most items, you can apply this to both the lock safes and suitcases, as long as they are in the vicinity of your creative area. In doing so, all content contained within these will be transferred on over to the workbench, available for use whenever you feel the need. I'm aware that this is not so much of a secret and more of a tip, but one some may have missed nonetheless. For number 4, we have the hidden railroad outpost at the marked location. Later in the title, the sole survivor may come across the railroad, a faction hell-bent on saving escaped synths. One of their key figures, a spy named Deacon, has a reputation for finding things out that others don't. When we first meet the group, Deacon is already aware of the sole survivor, but how? Well, at this particular post, indicated by the railroad markings, we can see that Deacon, or potentially another agent sent in this place, has a clear view of the vault exit, and no doubt watched the sole survivor emerge into this new world. Also, there's some items to grab whilst here, such as both purified and dirty water. As the opening segment of the title begins, after a short introduction, the sole survivor, accompanied by their spouse and child, make haste to Vault 111, seeking shelter from the incoming nuclear detonation. As we stand above the platform, the bomb hits, destroying everything in its path. Prior to this, if the player decides to go AWOL and make a break for it, the bomb will prematurely explode, causing instant death to the sole survivor. at the sole survivor's home, both during the pre-bomb and after, the latter of which gives us this wonderful landscape. The player can interact with both a Grognak comic book and a children's book entitled Special.
Grognak the Barbarian and the Jungle of the Bat Babies. My favorite. Wonder what Sean will grow up to be.
200 plus years later, when returning home, the sole survivor can once more find these two items, each now granting a unique bonus or perk. Interacting with the comic book will grant an additional 5% melee infliction damage on the player's behalf, and a special book will allow the player to add an additional perk to the tree we toggled earlier when creating our player with the Vault-Tec Rep. There's also a small but sweet interaction. Specifically in Sean's bedroom, the player can interact with Sean's crib and say the following.
I'm coming, buddy.
Speaking of the Vault-Tec Rep, after we conversate with him at our front door, we later see him trying to gain access to Vault 111, citing he is Vault-Tec, only to be turned away by the guards. But did you know that later he survived the initial blast? Heading to the settlement of Goodneighbor to the east, we learn of a ghoul currently residing at Hotel Rexford.
It's the truth. All of it.
You know, if you haven't already, you should check out the Hotel Rexford. There's another pre-war ghoul hanging around there.
Heading there, we reunite with the former Vault-Tec employee, who's just as astonished to see the sole survivor as we are to see him.
What? No, it can't. It's you! From Sanctuary Hills, right?
Wait, are you from Vault-Tec?
I am Vault-Tec.
Following this, we can ask him to head back to Sanctuary Hills, where we later meet him once more and offer employment.
I almost thought you wouldn't.
Hey, now that you're back here in Sanctuary, how would you like a job?
A job? For me? Really?
On a side note, instead of requesting him to become a travelling salesman still, after you establish Sanctuary Hills as a settlement, you can have him work the land instead. South of Vault 111 and southwest of Misty Lake, there's a trader who set up both shop and home who some players may have easily missed, as it's not indicated on the in-game map. Heading to the location I'm at right now, the sole survivor can interact with the trader, exchanging goods and the like, as well as obtain some crops for their own settlement. There's further goodies at the trader's home, but collect them at your own risk. There's even more supplies found around Sanctuary Hills, all adding to the player's inventory early on, giving you a boost from the start. West of Misty Lake, there's a small tent with some health supplies. Just across the entrance bridge to the east of the settlement is an ammunition bag containing ammo and a new weapon just next to the fallen man and his dog, although this may vary during your personal gameplay. Heading north further along the shoreline will reveal a generator that, after switching off and following the pipeline, will lead you to a secondary generator packed with supplies, as well as a fallen survivor and their weapon. A sunken boat at the location indicated containing a steamer trunk, where here I've used a water mod to show clearly where you'll find some necessary essentials, and lastly an open safe just south of the main bridge where you'll find stimpaks and ammunition. Near the entrance bridge to Sanctuary, second home on the left as if you're entering, there's a computer that evidences that at some point the settlement was once home to either one or a group of drug-dealing bandits, flogging chems and such to their patrons. Flicking through the ledger terminal entries, we get a bit of a story as to the ongoings of said deals. So that was 10 secrets of Sanctuary Hills that some players may have missed. Do you know of any that didn't make the list today? Be sure to let us know in the comment section. If you enjoyed what you saw, you all know what to do, and if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.